Okay, we're live. And we're talking about stop following along. Stop following along to doing things that are not helping you, that are not feeling good. And why am I talking about this? Because I'm getting very clear that when I go towards things that feel good, they lead to things that are good. And when I go towards things that feel bad, they lead to things that feel worse. And this has been something I've been studying for years, but even going into it more intensely in the last year. And then it's just come up even more in the last few weeks. So we're in new moon. We're also in the year of the snake now. And it's very fitting for us to feel tension and changes and things going on in the outside world that are totally crazy, some of them, and to be called outside of ourselves to go, let them take over what we do. So there's a lot of following along and reacting going on in the outer world right now. But I was just having a discussion with one of my clients this morning about not feeding what everyone else is following. We don't have to go with the flow of what's going on in the world. We don't have to continue agreeing with what other people think is important. We can stop going with the flow that isn't working. And you can tell what's not working by how you're reacting. So if your body doesn't feel good, if you're having anxiety, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling depressed, then there's something that isn't those are symptoms of something that isn't working out for you. So you can start paying attention. You just start paying attention to how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And then you can start navigating based on how you feel. And it's not always easy because of this thing of we're all doing. We don't take enough time to actually notice how we're feeling. Why are we doing it? Why do we keep doing it? Why do I keep following along with this? Because we get into ruts, we get into patterns, we start making habits for ourselves, and they're not always the best. Or we're in relationships or work that we just keep going with it and we don't notice that we need to make a change because we're got the blinders on. We're not looking at the bigger picture for ourselves. We're just focused on what's in front of us at the moment instead of feeling into why do I keep doing this? It doesn't feel good. So I was also I had a powerful morning with clients this morning. And I'm so grateful for my clients because they're such good teachers for me. And there's so much realization and healing that goes on in one session. Here comes Merlin. He's coming in to join us. And sometimes we can stay too long in an old pattern because of commitment. We feel like there's a commitment that we've agreed to and we have to stay with it. So we follow through on our commitment, even though it keeps us feeling sick, tired, annoyed, frustrated. So for example, all of last year, I joined a networking group because I needed to get into networking, and I didn't know that I was doing this at the time when I registered, but I was just staying in a mainstream, if I was an accountant, it would have been a great networking group for me. But because I'm a shaman, it wasn't a great networking group for me. But because I paid for it, I committed to it, I kept going every week. And what I noticed, I really got a lot of information on my body, how my intuition is giving me messages, how my allies and guides are working with me. It really taught me a lot. It was one of these most valuable experiences that, hi Cindy, it was one of those most valuable experiences that I have ever had. Like some of these things that don't feel good, they're really good teachers. So one of these things that I was going through was, why do I feel like crap after every meeting? Why does my body like have a freak out? And I had to like recollect myself and everything after every meeting, every week. And it was just my body's way of telling me that this isn't for me. And even though there's so many other benefits from it, it was teaching me how to observe myself and what feels good, so that I can choose differently next time. And so I'm no longer in that group. I finished my term. I kept my commitment because that's what professionals do and everything. And now it's not even feeling like networking anymore. I've entered into this new women's and wellness group that I didn't even like look to apply for. I don't have to pay for it. I found, it just came to me. These beautiful women, these wonderful women that I now get to meet with regularly, and we're hosting each other and speaking events. We're networking and talking about big things like leadership and feminine power and all that thing. Merlin's here for you, Cindy. We're talking about things that are aligned with what I do. And every time, whenever I visit with them or work with them or meet with them, I have to drive 45 minutes. I have to go into downtown Vancouver. And every time I get in the car to go there, I am happy. I have to get up at 5 a.m. sometimes. I have to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get there. And I notice that my energy, my body, my attitude, everything is positive. There is no feeling bad at all. And I'm like, wow, this is a total difference from all of last year of, I hope I don't feel bad after this meeting. Because there was lots of times I would go to those meetings and I would feel good. And then afterwards, everything would be like, yucky, yucky, yucky. But I'm not experiencing that when I'm feeling I'm in the right place. So you can really navigate. The point of my story is you can navigate through your body where you need to be. You just have to pay attention to it. And it takes being in yucky experiences sometimes to really get a handle. How many of you have been in a yucky experience, and keep going into the yucky experience, but it's actually taught you invaluable lessons? Put a yes in the comments if you have learned from your mistakes. And now, how many of you actually choose differently because you learn from those mistakes? Like, some of the biggest teachings in our life are our biggest teachers. And we have to go through them. We have to go through them. And I'm so grateful for last year and that group that I was networking with, because I have made good connections and there will be lots of good stuff that comes out of it. But it was such a valuable teacher for me to recognize how my intuition has even increased, how my sensitivity skills and my perception and extrasensory abilities have advanced based on the practices I practice or the teachings I teach or the clients I get to work with even. Those types of things, when you hang around people who are practicing the same stuff you are, you're growing even faster. You're advancing and excelling yourself, and your possibilities are expanded. There's infinite possibilities when you're hanging around others and you're putting yourself first in all your decisions. But when we like put ourselves into boxes and we have to like, I have to go there, I should go there, I need to show up, those kinds of things, it starts to feel contracted and limiting. And there's my other client this morning. He's actually like a performance talent manager. And he is experiencing not getting the work that is aligned with his experience and his credentials and everything. And he's tried it. I've met actually a lot of people in the last year who, you're trying to do your purpose and you take work that isn't aligned with you. Even though you've said, I'm not going to do that, you've done it. You've gone and taken a job or some work to pay the bills or to meet ends meet. And you get into it and you're like, what the hell am I doing here again? I decided not to do this. And it's just a bad experience. And you end up quitting right away. I've met a lot of people this year or last year, 2024, who did that thinking, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do what I'm supposed to do because it wasn't working out for you the way you thought it would. And you were, oh, I got to do this to make it work, but it just doesn't feel good. It feels like crap. So what do you do? What do you do when you're trying to navigate in these situations and follow breadcrumbs and go with the flow and stay with it? You stay with it. You practice staying with it. You don't give up. You find people that resonate with who you are. And if you can't find anybody, you don't go hanging out with the ones that don't. Like, you just have to keep deciding, no, I'm not going that way again. Like, I've had invitations this year so far, like, to go back or be a sub or something like that, or a networking group that's kind of like on the same lines as the old one. And I'm just like, I don't think, I just been tuning in. Is that me? Like, before I press the button and go yes, just sitting back and like, is this really what I want to do? Does this feel good? Like, that's the practice, is just slowing down and not reacting so yes. Yeah. Don't react into the yes so fast. Just like, it feels like a yes right now. Does it feel like a yes in an hour? Does it feel like a yes in tomorrow morning? Or sometimes, does it feel like a no right now? But then, does it feel like a no tomorrow? Somebody, asking 3 times, is this a yes? Or is this a no? Just coming back to it so you can get clear on it. Because we all want to work with good people, and we all want to resonate with the coach or the healer or the shaman that you want to work with. And I've done it in the past. I've been really quick to say yes. And then I'm down a road where I'm committed and paid and everything. And then I'm like, I don't know if this was for me. But I stay with it anyway, because I'm kind of a loyal person that way. But I'm slowing down in my yeses. Okay, I'm just looking at my notes here. So you kind of have to decide to notice and pay attention some more. And there's some value in that. So think about, what have you done in the past where you were going fast towards the yes? Can you slow down and go a little bit slower towards the yes, just to really tune into the answers your body gives you? We know lots of, Cindy and I have been training in the same field around presence, and so much of the time we're not in our bodies. We're in these thoughts that are out, not even in our brain. Like they're just like in the front, overthinking, figuring things out all the time, confusing us. There's no clarity going on in our mind. And when we make decisions out of fear or confusion, it usually doesn't work out that way. And my teachers, my shamanic teachers, years ago were teaching, like, if it feels good, feel good. Like, go towards what feels good. If it doesn't feel good, if it feels bad or yucky, don't go towards it. And it's just a habit change to notice what feels good. And sometimes it's hard. I know that there's people out there that have trouble understanding their intuition, understanding how their body is talking to them, because we've never been taught how to do this in the past. I'm reading The Psychology of Wealth right now, and I'm only in like chapter 2. And I'm like, why isn't this being taught to us instead of social studies? Like, why are we not learning the physics of wealth? Why are we not learning the concepts of prosperity consciousness as children? Why did they decide to teach us? I'm going on a tangent here. Why did they decide to teach us about the war and all of that instead of like the concepts of clarity and focus and personal achievement and professional development when we're children? Or purpose, like definitive purpose. Why don't they teach us that kind of stuff? And so that can help us move towards what feels good. Like, why don't we learn these things? Why don't we learn how to be present when we're children and that kind of thing? And why don't we learn what feels good when we're young? Why aren't there are teachers out there teaching this stuff in mainstream society in school? I got sidetracked there. Sorry about that. But, that's what I do, is I'm helping people understand how they operate, how your body talks to you, how your emotions are guiding you, how your thoughts, why you're having those thoughts. What's going on in your energy? And let's rein it all in and align it with what you want. What is your purpose? Not the work to just make money. What is going to fulfill you every day? And how are you going to help and guide other people to be fulfilled? Give more than we get. And it's so easy to get caught up in those old patterns of following along, especially when we have stuff going on in the outer world that seems very confusing and upside down and backwards, if you know what I'm talking about. You just don't feed it, is what I decide to do. But, you have to stay close to home of what feels good. What feels good, and keep moving towards that. Because if you get upset with the outer world and it doesn't feel good, and you keep going on that train, it's not going to feel good going down the train of it. Come back to yourself. So this presence work, this inner work that I help guide people towards, helps you to know what's going on with you, and helps to teach you how your intuition works, how your body responds to certain people, places, things, events, so that you can get clarity on what you want, not what society is telling you want. Because that's where the confusion started all along. For me especially, is like, instead of me doing my purpose when I was 15 years old, or starting on the train and learning how to become a shaman when I was 12, I delayed it because I thought I needed to do what society wanted. But we don't have to do that anymore. And we can rein it all in and start being the drivers of our own lives instead of being driven by the outer world. So I'm really excited about all the viewers today. Thank you so much for coming on. And I want to just let you know that I'm going to put in the chat my Finding the Source webpage about my intro program, because that's what I really do is I help people get clarity on what they want and find out exactly what's in the way of what you want. And I help you do that in 2 sessions so that you can move on quickly towards what you want and what feels good. And it brings me so much joy to help people to have clarity when we're being bombarded by all of this outer noise and outer confusion of politics, world events, disasters, and that kind of thing. We need to rein it back in and come back to ourselves of what feels good and where do I want to go and how do I want to be of service to the greater picture, but first to myself. Because when you're in service to yourself first, you can be really in service to other people. So thank you so much for coming on. And next week, I'm not sure what's going to come, but I'll see you here again next week. Have a great day.